one of the things I think people are unhealthy is because of bad relationships. So it's kind of, I've had a real journey, if you like, of, reassessing me, my life, my attitudes about things. My partner and I are getting married in 2 weeks, and we're in such a great place at the moment, but it's not always been easy. And I think, when I first found out I was pregnant, my partner was completely in shock and was actually quite unsupportive. He'll admit it, because he was just so fearful about what was going to happen. And then when we found out we were having twins, he was totally cool about it. And then when we nearly lost them, he was simply amazing. But it's, everyone deals with things in totally different ways. And even after I had the boys, thinking about how I was going to be healthy. Or even actually when I was pregnant, thinking about, right, if I juice every morning and I eat really well in the day, if I want to go and have, chocolate cake in the afternoon with OK magazine, that's totally OK. And I think that whole letting stuff go has really helped me as a person become overall more healthy. I remember when I was about 4 months pregnant, and I was I always, very rarely indulged in, if you like, bad foods. But what I started to realise was, probably really realised and understood, was that, the occasional chocolate cake, if you're eating really, really well, was actually completely part of a normal life. And so, in a way, although I've always been quite strict and mega healthy, it's letting some of that stuff go that's made me a lot more chilled out.
I mean, because you said about the deposits before. I mean, it comes back to that, doesn't it? It's quite a simple thing to understand.
Well, a lot of my clients have asked me, how I've managed to get back into shapes, so quickly.
And everyone will know that.
Yeah, but it's just, it's things like when I, ordering your shopping online, so that you've always got things to juice in. I mean, that's just something that we've always done, and I've made it a rule since, the day they were born, and I had to juice every morning. If I don't juice, it's very, very occasionally that we haven't got stuff in, then I just feel awful. And so giving myself that nutrient hit first thing in the morning has meant that if I didn't get a chance to have lunch or breakfast till 12 o'clock, at least I had some goodness in. And one of the things that I've done every day religiously is eating the main meal at lunchtime, so that if I get busy, at least I've eaten really well at lunchtime. I've had more bags of leaves in my fridge than I know what to do with, and I probably eat 2 of them a day, because I always make sure that I've got that goodness coming in. And the other thing is that Sam and I go to bed at 7:30 when the boys go to bed, because I know how tiredness can affect mood. If Sam and I have a glass too much of wine, we'll start screaming at each other at 3 in the morning. It's like, no, it's your turn to feed, no, it's your turn, and one of us doesn't want to get out of bed. And so it's linking back to that energy thing, because one of the things Craig taught me is doing the vitality and the energy out of 10 tests. So you ask yourself, what's your vitality today? And I can honestly say that, I happen to have had a reasonably rough night last night, but I juiced, I went to bed at 7:30, so even though I was up for an hour and a half in the night, I still had overall 8 to 9 hours sleep. So I constantly, I know that when you don't have energy, everything starts to shut down, you crave sugar, all the rest of it. So that's also some advice that I've been able to do with myself, but also give my clients.
I think it's really good advice, because it stops you from spiralling out of control. And there's so many books and so many different diets out there. All you've done is just made it so simple for people to understand. And really listen to your own body, I think you're saying there as well. Yeah,
I just think people are so, they start thinking about dieting, but they don't think about the fact that they, haven't slept properly for a long time. They're disorganised. I found I've drank more coffee since I've had the boys. I only ever used to have 1 a day, and I do have 2 a day now, which I'm trying to cut back on. But when you are tired, you start drinking lots of coffee. And I had a client, he just had a baby, who was like drinking 9 cups of coffee a day. And she's like, that's the only way I can get through. And I was like, well, perhaps you should think about juicing in the morning instead of your first coffee, or what are you having for lunch? And it was on this permanent sort of roller coaster cycle. So it's just getting people to think about it. It's always what Craig's taught me to think about, is how what everything you eat or everything you do or everything you think has a positive or negative effect on the body. So if you can try and put as much positive stuff in, the odd negative, balance out that we're saying, and I just think that's the way people need to think about how they manage their lifestyle. But also I think that a lot of women now are starting to realise that diets actually don't work.
Yeah.
Or women who come to see me who've been dieting for 20 years and haven't, can't understand why it's not working anymore. And it's just getting them to think about, well, maybe it's not working because of this, or maybe you're carrying excess weight because you're stressed, or maybe the reason you're eating a load of crap is because you're so tired and you haven't had a decent night's sleep. So it's kind of like linking everything with your health together. And I think the other thing that Craig's taught me, which I know is so true, is that all of his principles work whether you're sort of sick, healthy, pregnant, old, young.
Yeah.
So all the advice that I give to my clients the whole time is pretty similar, because nothing that Craig's tells or advises his clients to do, or what I've implemented in my business, is dangerous. It's just basic, obvious, common sense that a lot of people don't actually realise because of media or they've read or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that.